Have you ever wondered what would happen if Modulo Yuji trains Megumi Fushiguro and helps him reach his full potential to fight Sukuna? Our story starts when Yuji wakes up in front of Gojo and Shoko after Sukuna kills Yuji by taking his heart out. But the difference here is that the Yuji who wakes up has the soul of Modulo Yuji. First, they get shocked seeing Yuji alive, not to mention the maturity he is showing. Yuji hugs Gojo properly, since he died during Shinjuku, and he came back to prevent that along with the deaths of all the other innocent civilians and sorcerers that Mahito, Kenjaku, and Sukuna were about to kill. But he had made a heavenly restriction that he would not get his adult powers, and that he cannot tell anyone about their future. What he can do though is help someone get stronger while also getting stronger himself than his main timeline version. He chooses to put his full focus on training Megumi and getting him to his full potential, as after Yuji, Megumi had the most potential in the new generation. His main plan is for him and Megumi to fight Sukuna in his Heian era form and kill him, and this is not going to be an easy task at all. Before he starts the training, Yuji goes to Junpei and prevents the death of him and his poor mother at the hands of Mahito and his evil plan to lure Yuji. Instead, he directly pays Mahito a visit with Megumi, as he is not scared of Mahito at all, and knows how big of a loser Mahito truly is, having been killed 2 times in 2 different eras. Here, Mahito thinks Yuji is dumb for trying to take him on without an A-grade sorcerer, but this version of Yuji, even though he might not have his adult version strength, still has the knowledge, and can use a couple of black flashes. Yuji attacks first, and asks Megumi to attack Mahito from a distance, while Yuji takes him on up close. As soon as Yuji comes close to Mahito, Mahito goes for the kill, but Yuji is able to dodge that, and at the same time land a black flash on Mahito. Mahito can't believe his eyes that Yuji can do something like this and backs off, bringing in his transfigured human army, but Megumi is ready to take care of that with his Shikigami. As Megumi kills them, Mahito can't believe that he is being pushed back like this by a bunch of amateur young sorcerers, and finally decides to open his domain. Before Yuji could land another black flash, Mahito traps both of them in his domain. But just like the main timeline, as soon as he touches Yuji, he enters Sukuna's mind, and Mahito's soul gets attacked, making him cancel his domain and escape. After this fighting experience, both Yuji and Megumi go on to fight more curses non-stop and get stronger. Yuji tells Megumi that he has to get strong enough to tame Maharaga. For this, he also decides to spar with Megumi while teaching him various ways he can use the 10 Shadows technique, like combining 2 or 3 Shikigami to create an ultimate one. Megumi is shocked to hear Yuji's knowledge about his 10 Shadows technique and asks how he knows all this, but Yuji just asks him to trust him, as he can't reveal anything until they defeat Sukuna. Yuji came back just to change reality and save everyone he adored and loved. Yuji tells Megumi that soon some tragic things will happen to him, but he has to make sure not to break down, as it will only cause more harm to his loved ones, hinting at Gojo's death. And he assures Megumi that no matter what happens in the future, he will help him. The Kyoto Sister School exchange arc begins. Here, Yuji is present, unlike the main timeline where he was being hidden from the world by Gojo and considered dead. Here, Todo and Yuji become friends just like the main timeline, but Yuji does something interesting. Instead of asking Gojo to be alert, he asks the students and Megumi to be alert for danger, looking at this as a good training opportunity. As soon as the curses invade and put up a barrier around the place, Yuji takes Todo with him to fight Hanami. This time, he plans on finishing Hanami here for good, and with the help of Todo and his own practice and experience, he is able to use black flashes more often now. They completely overwhelm Hanami, a special grade curse, while Yuji has asked Megumi to keep everyone safe and fight all the curses alongside the other young sorcerers. They all completely crush this invasion, and before Gojo could arrive, Todo, Megumi, and Yuji finish off Hanami. Gojo, seeing this, feels like he underestimated the young generation and thinks that they are way more capable than he had initially thought. On the other hand, Sukuna and Kenjaku can't believe that Yuji has grown so much physically and mentally. They sense something is off and that this doesn't feel like the young Yuji they knew, who was careless and less responsible. Kenjaku decides to rush ahead with his plan for the Shibuya incident. As the day of the incident arrives, Yuji has trained hard with Megumi and even helped Nobara get stronger so she doesn't get killed by Mahito. He also knows that if he manages to prevent Gojo from getting trapped in the prison realm, he can save a lot of people, including Mai and Maki. He asks Gojo to be careful during Shibuya, and warns him that he might see something from the past, but that it is all fake, just tricks in the end to make Gojo lower his guard. Gojo, hearing all this, gets more serious. As soon as he arrives at the station, Jogo, Choso, and Mahito throw humans at him. Seeing Mahito's transfigured army go after innocents, he uses his 0.1 second domain and finishes everyone off. However, just then Kenjaku arrives behind his back, but as soon as Gojo glances at him, he launches Reversal Red. Gojo escapes from there before the prison realm could capture him, and Kenjaku is shocked, as there was no way Gojo was expecting this. And an injured Kenjaku and Choso escape from there, with Kenjaku ordering Jogo to keep Gojo busy. Gojo grabs Jogo and takes him away from Shibuya so that their fight can't kill innocents. On the other hand, Choso and all his brothers are sent by Kenjaku to fight Yuji, but Yuji is easily able to dominate the fight and tries to convince them that he is their brother. Hearing Yuji say this, Kenjaku gets his confirmation that this Yuji is, on the inside, from the future. Before Yuji could go further, Kenjaku himself comes in with his cursed manipulation and fights Yuji off, trying to knock him out. But just then, Nobara arrives to help him, and Choso and his brothers also help save Yuji, forcing Kenjaku to escape. On the other hand, Megumi is fighting Toji and is way more impressive than his main timeline counterpart was against Toji. But eventually, Toji realizes Megumi is his son and kills himself, happy that Megumi is not a Zenin and is strong enough to protect himself. Just like the main timeline, Yuji kills Mahito, as he still had the fear of losing everyone like Nanami and Junpei in the future. Kenjaku absorbs Mahito and moves forward with his plan, but the twist is that he is way more aware of Yuji being from the future. So he decides to tweak his plan a little. He decides to knock out Yuji when his guard is down so that Sukuna can possess him, and Kenjaku can feed him his old body and all the fingers so that his body and Sukuna can get separated from Yuji right at the start of the culling game. Before the culling games start, Yuji and Megumi, along with Yuta, Maki, and Mai, kill off the Zenin clan before they can kill Maki and Mai. As the culling games start, Yuji asks Gojo not to interfere, as it would be a good opportunity for him and his friends to improve, while he can also gather other sorcerers for their fight against Sukuna. But what he doesn't know is that Kenjaku's main target in the culling games is him. As the games start, Yuji and Megumi are overpowered by Kenjaku and his gang of ancient sorcerers and knocked out. Kenjaku feeds Yuji all the fingers and the body of Sukuna. As soon as Sukuna wakes up, he goes to Megumi and tells him about Yorozu. But here Megumi stays strong despite all that sadness and tries to attack Sukuna instead. Seeing this, both Kenjaku and Sukuna are shocked, as they expected Megumi to fall into complete despair, and Kenjaku tells him the secret he found out about Modulo Yuji. Sukuna agrees that Yuji has been acting weird, like he knows everything. Kenjaku asks Sukuna to come with him into his original body, and as soon as Sukuna takes his Heian-era form, he thinks of killing Yuji and Megumi, since he has no use for either. But Kenjaku needs Yuji for his plan, so he asks the ancient sorcerers to fight Sukuna and enjoy the battle they have been waiting years for. That gives Megumi the chance to take Yuji and run away. In just a few minutes, Sukuna slaughters everyone and gains respect for Kashimo and his strength, just like he had gained for Jogo in Shibuya. He and Kenjaku leave to make a new plan. The culling games end and Gojo meets his students, who have grown even stronger than before. But just then, Sukuna and Kenjaku arrive and give them a month to prepare for the Shinjuku showdown. Gojo is ready to fight Sukuna, and Yuji decides that this is the perfect scenario, as Gojo is not depressed. Megumi is stronger than ever, and they have people like Nanami and Nobara as good support. Yuji, Gojo, and Megumi train aggressively, and here Gojo, Yuji, and Yuta help Megumi defeat Maharaga and tame him, putting Megumi at his full potential. This Megumi is angry about his sister's death and is using that anger in training, and with Yuji's teaching, he is able to combine his Shikigami and make stronger, special grade level ones that were even able to throw hands with Gojo. Finally, the day of the Shinjuku showdown arrives. Gojo, Yuji, and Megumi are more than prepared, and the other sorcerers have trained hard too. Their main plan is for Gojo to inflict as much damage as he can on Sukuna and exhaust him, and as soon as it seems like Gojo is gonna die, Yuji and Megumi will jump him. Gojo and Sukuna start the battle, and just like the original timeline, Gojo shoots a 200% hollow purple at Sukuna, mocking the King of Curses. They both come close and start fighting in close combat, combat, and Sukuna uses domain amplification to touch Gojo and bypass his infinity. On the other hand, Gojo is having a hard time dealing with this Sukuna in close combat, as this is his Heian era form, which has more strength and 2 extra arms and a mouth for chanting while fighting. At least in close combat, Sukuna dominates the fight. Yuji asks Megumi to get ready, as the time for them to interfere might come soon, and they have to observe Sukuna and his fighting style until then. Yuta and Takaba, on the other hand, manage to kill Kenjaku, but here something weird happens. Kenjaku warns them about the 10 million curses he has launched in the nearby cities. Hearing this, Yuta passes it on to Yuji, and more than half the students, including Mai, Nanami, Meimei, and Maki, leave to deal with them, and with the help of Angel, they can handle the higher grade ones. Megumi, Yuji, Yuta, Nobara, and Todo stay back to deal with Sukuna. Their main plan is to take Sukuna on directly, with Megumi and Yuji fighting him head-on while the others sneak attack him from the side, and Todo with his swapping technique making the battle complicated for Sukuna. But just then Dagon comes into their room and attacks them, sending them into his domain, where some ancient sorcerers are waiting to jump them. These were the sorcerers who gave up on the idea of fighting Sukuna after seeing his full power. Yuji asks everyone to finish this quickly and break out of Dagon's domain through Yuta's domain. While this is happening, Gojo is able to take on Sukuna with long-range attacks and deal heavy damage. Gojo sneaks a hollow purple onto Sukuna, which damages him heavily, but not as much as it did in the original timeline, as this Heian-era body of Sukuna is way more durable. Sukuna and Gojo then clash their domains, but every time the result is the same, with Gojo getting overwhelmed by shrine attacks. Since his domain is a closed domain while Sukuna has an open one, it makes Sukuna's a little superior. But Gojo finds that one chance and uses his infinite void 1 second before Sukuna, managing to overwhelm his brain with infinite void information and deal him heavy damage. Sukuna realizes that the longer this fight goes, the sooner the kids will break Dagon's domain and join Gojo in the fight, so he decides to end Gojo for good. He first exhausts Gojo and deals him heavy damage by constantly spamming his domain and not letting Gojo use infinite void on him, then goes close to Gojo and, with domain amplification, bypasses his infinity and lands brutal hits. To finally finish him off, he uses Kamutoke, the same thunder weapon he uses against Kashimo, but before he could finish Gojo, Yuji and Megumi jump on him, and with Mahoraga beside Megumi, they are able to knock Sukuna back. While these two fight Sukuna, the others help Gojo escape and get treated. Yuji and Megumi really impress Sukuna, as Yuji is able to match Sukuna in close combat and is even immune to Sukuna's shrine attacks, while on the other hand, Megumi with Mahoraga is dealing Sukuna serious damage. Sukuna realizes Mahoraga's adaptability power and tries to end him with Fuga, but gets distracted by Yuji, who is constantly close to him and not letting him use his weapon or special technique. Seeing this, he traps Yuji and Mahoraga in his domain, but the problem for Sukuna here is that both Mahoraga and Yuji are immune to his attacks and beat him even inside his domain, while Megumi uses the simple domain Yuji taught him to protect himself from slashes. And while his domain ends, he tries to finish Mahoraga with Fuga, but before that could happen, Yuta, Nobara, and Todo jump him, and because of that, Mahoraga is able to damage Sukuna. Here, for the first time ever in his long life, Sukuna feels truly challenged and pressured, and is actually fearing for his life. He tries to bring in Uraume to help him, but Hikari is already taking care of her. Seeing no other option left, Sukuna decides he needs to kill them all one by one, starting with Megumi, and injures him with a quick slash. But just then, Yuji comes in front of him and takes all the other shrine attacks to save Megumi. Sukuna launches a Fuga at everyone, but they all manage to escape except for Mahoraga, who dies there. Luckily, Megumi has Agito, which Yuji taught him how to create, and with that, Sukuna is still at a disadvantage. Yuji asks everyone to give him a chance and let Sukuna's guard drop, so everyone focuses on distracting him, and while this is happening, Yuji launches his own domain and traps Sukuna in it. He finishes Sukuna for good with this, and they not only manage to save a lot of innocent people and sorcerers, but their sensei, Gojo Satoru, is alive too. Instead of the extreme difficulty fight they originally had, this fight was way easier, and a lot fewer people died or suffered severe trauma. Yuji alone couldn't have done it without training Megumi and helping him reach his full potential. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on for daily fire content. Peace out.